Good day everyone! Today we will explore about DepEd orders on inclusion, the role of SPED centers, learning resources, and the indigenous peoples educational framework. Understanding these policies is essential because they guide schools in making educational accessible to all learners, regardless of their abilities or backgrounds. So now I will present you the learning objectives for today's discussion. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain the legal basis and key provisions of inclusive education, particularly DepEd policies on inclusion, SPED centers, and the IPEd framework. You will also analyze how these policies support learners with different needs and backgrounds. Finally, you are expected to demonstrate respect and appreciation for all learners by valuing inclusive and culturally responsive practices. So now, let us start our discussion. So inclusive education ensures equal access to education for all learners, especially those with disabilities, learning difficulties, and special needs. Inclusive education is a key principle of the Philippine education system. It ensures that all learners, especially those with disabilities, learning difficulties, or other special needs, have equal access to quality education. It promotes participation, acceptance, and respect, helping all learners feel valued in the classroom. Inclusive education also benefits everyone by creating a learning environment where diversity is recognized as a strength. So, I have a question. So, who are the learners that benefit most from inclusive education? And that is correct. Inclusive education mainly supports learners with disabilities, learning difficulties, and special need, but it also helps all learners feel accepted and valued in the classroom. Now let us proceed to the next slide. So DepEd orders emphasize that learning with special educational needs should study in regular schools whenever possible. Schools must remove barriers to participation, and teachers must use flexible teaching strategies such as group activity or visual aids to meet diverse learning needs. So DepEd orders emphasize that learners with special educational needs should study in a regular school whenever possible. School must remove barriers that prevent full participation, and teacher must use flexible teaching strategies to meet diverse learning needs. So I have a question regarding it. So why is it important for learners with special needs to study in regular school? Very good. Studying in regular school helps learners with special needs feel included, build friendship, and learn together with others in a supportive environment. Now, let us proceed to the next slide. Schools remove barriers to learning, and teachers adapt lessons to meet the needs of diverse learners. Flexible teaching strategies promote participation and ensure every learner has the opportunity to succeed. Schools should remove barriers such as physical obstacles, inaccessible materials, or lessons that are too difficult. Teachers must adapt lessons using flexible strategies, like visual aids, peer tutoring, or modified activities. These approaches allow all learners to participate meaningfully and succeed academically. So, I have a question. What barriers can prevent learners from participating fully in class? Very good. Physical, learning, and instructional barriers because they can prevent learners from accessing materials, following lessons, or participating actively in classroom activities. Did you understand? Okay, very good. Now let's proceed to the next slide. So, role of SPED centers. SPED centers provide specialized instructions and intervention for learners with disabilities. They offer assessment, therapy, and teacher training, helping schools implement inclusive strategies effectively. So, SPED centers provide specialized instruction and intervention for learners with disabilities. They offer assessment, therapy, and teacher training, helping schools implement inclusive strategy effectively. Now, how do SPED centers support both learners and teachers? Very good. SPED centers provide special services for learners and also guide teachers on how to teach learners with special needs more effectively. Now, let us proceed to the next slide. So, SPED centers as resource hub. So, these share resources with nearby schools, guide teacher in implementing inclusive strategies, and strengthen the overall inclusive culture of schools. So, SPED centers act as a resource hub. They share teaching strategies, learning materials, and provide training to nearby schools. This strengthens the school's inclusive culture and ensure that teachers can apply inclusive education strategies confidently. So I have here a question. So how do SPED centers help teachers in inclusive education? Okay, very good. They provide training, guidance, and resources because teachers can improve their skills and apply inclusive strategies confidently in their classrooms. So now, let us proceed to the next slide. Inclusive learning resources include modified instructional materials, assistive devices, and individualized education program or IEP. These resources promote equity, dignity, and participation for all learners. So inclusive learning resources like modified worksheets, assistive devices, and IEP ensures lessons are accessible to all learners. So IEP are plans designed for individual learners to meet their specific needs. So these resources helps learners participate fully, understand lesson better, and feel valued. So did you understand what is learning resources? Very good. So now, let me ask you a question. So how do modified materials help learners understand lesson better? That's right. Modified materials makes lesson easier to understand and help learners learn at their own pace and ability. So now, let us proceed to the next slide. So the Indigenous People Education or IPED frameworks recognize the right of indigenous people to education that respect their culture, language, and identity. It integrates indigenous knowledge, system, and practices using the mother tongue as the medium of instruction and encourages community participation. So the IPED framework ensures education respect indigenous learners' culture, language, and identity. It uses mother tongue instruction, integrated indigenous knowledge system, and encourage community involvement to make learning relevant and meaningful. So, How does using the mother tongue help indigenous learners understand the lesson better? Correct. So using the mother tongue help indigenous learners understand lesson more easier and express their ideas with confidence. So now let us proceed to the next slide. Teachers implement the IPEd framework by showing respect for indigenous cultures, adapting teacher strategies to the local context, and avoid discrimination and cultural biases. So the framework helps the learners develop pride in their identity while achieving academic success. So teachers play a key role in IPEd by respecting indigenous cultures, adapting strategies to local contexts, and avoiding discrimination or bias. For example, a teacher can use local stories or practices in lesson. This helps learners to develop pride in their identity while succeeding academically. So, I have a question. How does culturally responsive teaching help indigenous learners succeed in school? Very good. When teaching respect learners' culture and identity, they feel valued, confident, and more motivated to learn. Before we end our discussion, inclusive education ensures that all learners are given equal opportunities to learn. DepEd order guides schools, SPED centers provide support, and the IPEd framework respect learners' culture and identity. Together, this help build an inclusive and respectful school environment. Thank you for listening, everyone. See you next time.